Hi everybody, and welcome to a timeline of when we actually first decided to be full-time RVers to when we actually moved into our RV. Enjoy watching. Hi, welcome guys to our channel. I'm so glad you could join us. For this specific video, I had to make an intro because this video will get kind of long, so I split it up into several parts. This is telling our backstory. What happened, who were we, how were we living our lives before we decided to become full-time RVers, before we decided to sell everything that we own and to follow Jesus. So if you're interested in this, please stick around. Okay, so now that that's covered, the backdrop, we then start. 1st September is when it all came out, I want to say 2022. From that point we were just all shocked, and after that I don't even know what to believe anymore. I know you, God. I always spoke with God. I always heard from God. So it was not, my foundation with him was not shaken. It was the trust in others, almost, I want to say. But I then said, okay, Lord, I'm settling down. I'm going back to the basics, to my word, to the word of God, to figure out what you have for us now. I was not upset at the fact that I was part of the ministry. I knew why. I knew why I was there, why God asked us to come back. And it had everything to do with my giftings. He was training me. He was training me to see, to discern. And he showed me that for 2 years worth of visions, dreams, things I had written down that he spoke to me were all accurate. All looked like they were speaking on different things, but was all about the same wickedness that was going on in one ministry. So I realized, before I thought I didn't hear right all the time. Sometimes I wrote stuff down where I was like, Janine, you are obviously crazy. That was not God talking to you. That I later on found out, yes, it was. And I found out I heard him extremely clearly. So that alone gave me a confidence in him that I had never had before. So I trusted him on a new level. So I then fasted. The time for my fast, which he had also spoken to me about for a while, that there would be a time where he would do a specific thing in my life. I never knew when. I then knew it is now. He said it's time, so I fasted. It was a 40-day fast. And then my husband fasted for a long time. And after my fast was over, right after, we were sitting on the couch one night. Kids were asleep. I want to say the baby was in my arms sleeping. It was a Thursday night, the 3rd of November. I wrote it down, tried to remember my timeline. And my husband was just said something like, man, something about RVing, people that RV full time, that would be cool, something. And showed me a video. I was like, whoa, that's cool. Showed me another video. I was like, wow. And we started talking, and we were just going and going and going. And we were like, wow, we need to do this. It was just the most random decision, just out of nowhere. So the next day we started looking at RVs that we could take with us, because we had already considered where we're gonna move to. We knew we had to leave the state. We didn't know where to. And God kept giving me cities. But there were so many cities, and I was like, I feel like he's speaking to me. But it started getting confusing, because I was like, why are you... I know you spoke to me about this city, but I also believe you spoke to me about this city. So where do you want us to go? And then the RVing, it just made sense that he wanted us to go to multiple places. So Friday, 4th November, we started the search for RVs. I want to say it was Thursday, 9th November. It was time to sell my van. I had a van that was bought off. My husband said we need to sell it if we're going to go RVing, and we will keep his truck to pull the RV. And I was sad. because by then it's been a week and I started growing so discouraged because I was there are no RVs out there that make sense, that are realistic for family with 3 children. I need them to have some type of space. You know, I need the setup and everything to work so that we don't go crazy while we're traveling. Could not find it, so I really grew discouraged. And I talked to God that morning during my devotion time about it. I said, you know what? I feel like Jeff keeps wanting, my husband, keeps wanting to get something that is just not realistic for us. And then I think he grew frustrated because he was looking, you know, for something that worked from his perspective. But I kept saying, no, this is not working. So we were just not seeing eye to eye. So that day when he pulled off with my van, I stood there and I guess he saw how just sad I looked. And he was like, man, you're really sad. And I said, yes, I'm sad. And so I finally, for the first time, opened up to him and I talked to him exactly about why I was sad and how it's starting to discourage me that we're not finding exactly what would work for the family. He shared with me what he's looking for. I shared with him exactly what I wanted in an RV. I mean, from the layout, I said, this is the type of layout I would want in an RV. Okay, so he left to sell the van, went to work after, and then sent me a message that day saying, I think I found the RV that works for us. So he had found a 2023 Apex Ultralight, which is the one that we have now. So it hadn't even come out, or it had just been on the market for a couple of months because it was a 2023. And he found one in a few locations close by that he could go and pick up. So I looked it up and I looked at the video of the layout and everything, and I freaked out. I was like, this is it. This is exactly what I asked God for. And when I talked to my husband that morning, it was exactly the layout I wanted. I was like, if he gives me this, I have no right to complain because he's literally giving me what I want. And my husband then contacted them, and that Saturday, the 12th of November, my husband left to Kentucky to pick it up. It was that fast. So a week later, we went to go pick up RV after we made the decision. This is really happening. Literally less than a week ago, we said, oh, let's just get an RV and leave. And now we're in the process of getting ready to sell our house. Already had a real estate agent come by. And my husband, a few days after we find the RV, literally like 2-3 days later, has just picked it up in Kentucky and is on his way home. I am in shock at how fast this is happening. This is really happening. We're getting ready to travel in an RV, living in an RV full time. That just shows how quickly faith moves. You hear God, you get a desire from God, and you move on it, and it just like that, it happens. Which is so confirming that everything He's speaking to us, it's confirmation for it all, because He's not only telling us to do it, but we're putting it into motion, and it's moving smoothly, just so easy. I cannot believe we are owners of an RV right now. Who would have ever thought we would ever get an RV? What? Anyways, just had to take a moment. I'm in shock. I'm just standing here like, oh, he's sending me a video of this trailer hooked up to his truck. And I'm like, this is really happening. We just talked about it and it's happening. I want to make sure I record it all and I'll have it all for later, just to show how great God is and how He works. And if we're obedient, He would take us from here to sometimes like right here. We look back like, how did this just happen?
Or is this really happening? It's just shocking.
This is scary, but it's okay. Left Kentucky, and now I'm in Tennessee. I got about 2.5 more hours on the GPS, so probably about 3 to 3.5, because I'm only doing 60 miles an hour. It'll do 70. 65 is okay, but 60 is like the sweet spot where if the wind blows or a truck passes me, I'm all right. So, and I'm averaging about 12 miles per gallon, which sucks, but for towing, it's not bad. Yeah, all right.
If you enjoy the content we are putting out, or you heard something in this video that really inspired you, please like our video. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to come along on this journey with us and follow us along as God is guiding and directing our steps, so that you can be notified of any new videos that are coming out. Thank you so much.